So is schizoid personality disorder real? It's complicated.
In my head.
Hey everyone, I decided to skip the woods today and come back to the psych center, as you can see behind me, because I didn't want to risk the chance of the woods being closed down. So here I am. Today we're talking about schizoid personality disorder. Is it real? I mean, because a lot of people who have it, they feel like, what the hell is this? I'm just like a person who likes to stay to myself and think about things. So why is this a personality disorder? Well, let's talk about that. The deers are out on the soccer field today. So when approaching how we look at the schizoid personality disorder, I particularly like to look at the alternative method for diagnosing personality disorders. This can be found in the back of the DSM-5. And what happened, as happens in psychology, is we didn't have quite perfect conceptualizations of everything, because psychology is still a growing field. And so the way that we look at personality disorders, they wanted to put together a task force to investigate into this, and they came up with an alternative method. Unfortunately, it did not become the official method for a whole bunch of different reasons, but I think it's the way that we're heading, and that's what I like to use to conceptualize personality disorders myself. So before I go any further, I just want to say that the symptoms of schizoid personality disorder are definitely real. So somebody who has this personality disorder, what they're experiencing is real. I don't want to take that away at all. But when we look at this alternative method for diagnosing personality disorders, schizoid personality disorder doesn't exist anymore, along with some of the other ones. Why is that? Well, I think what happened here is that the symptoms of schizoid personality disorder were not distinguished enough to call them their own personality disorder, and so we realized the people who fall under schizoid personality disorder probably would more appropriately be labeled under two other personality disorders, and those would be avoidant personality disorder and schizotypal personality disorder. So probably most people who have schizoid personality disorder, they would fall under schizotypal personality disorder, and that's because people with schizoid personality disorder typically show the negative symptoms of schizophrenia, and schizotypal personality disorder is also on that schizophrenia spectrum. Now, when I talk about negative symptoms, what that means are the things that you don't typically see outwardly. So with schizophrenia, typically outwardly, you kind of see that people are hearing voices, they're seeing things. The negatives, those are positive symptoms. The negative symptoms are the ones like having a blunted affect, not feeling your emotions so well, and generally just keeping to yourself and withdrawing away from society. Now, when it comes to schizotypal personality disorder, they also have the same feeling of withdrawing from people. There's social anxiety, but schizotypal personality disorder, we typically also think of being more eccentric and having some ideas of reference where we believe that things outside of us have a special significance to us that other people won't see. And so although somebody with schizoid personality disorder doesn't have that, they would still fall in that realm of schizotypal personality disorder, and so I think they just combine them to make it easier. On the other hand, we also see that same social anxiety with avoidant personality disorder, the big difference being that somebody with avoidant personality disorder probably isn't on the schizophrenia spectrum, and the reason why they avoid people and the reason why they stay alone is because they have this social anxiety within them. Still, if you're somebody who's been diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder, you might hear this and think like, but why is this even a personality disorder? So let's talk about that. So one of the things that I love about this alternative method for diagnosing personality disorders is that it shows that we all have different maladaptive traits, and we all have them at different severities. And depending on the severity is kind of what makes us decide whether somebody's leaning towards a personality disorder, because the old way of looking at things, the way that the DSM-3 set it up originally, was that people with personality disorders, they were like a different category of people. And I think this new way kind of helps us to see that people are all just humans, and we all have different things that we do sometimes that aren't so great. It's when those things become a patterned behavior, when they become a trait that becomes fixed and it becomes a little bit more severe in its expression, that's when we start to lean towards a personality disorder. So when it comes to avoidant personality disorder, the personality traits that we're concerned with are anxiousness, anhedonia, which is that blunted affect that I was talking about, where you don't really feel things so strongly, intimacy avoidance, and withdrawal. Now, when it comes to schizotypal personality disorder, the maladaptive personality traits that we're concerned with are eccentricity, restricted affectivity, suspiciousness, perceptual dysregulation, and withdrawal, and unusual beliefs and experiences. It's a lot of them and I don't have them memorized. Now, it probably didn't slip past you that suspiciousness was one of the personality traits in schizotypal personality disorder and paranoid personality disorder. Obviously, suspiciousness is going to be a big part of that, but paranoid personality disorder disappears in this new model as well. So I think basically the whole purpose of consolidating here was to take paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, and schizotypal personality disorder and put them all together into one, because the symptoms are all related and distinguishing them doesn't seem to have any benefit as far as treatment goes. Something else to understand under this new model of diagnosing personality disorders is that there are different levels of insight to the personality disorder. So this may be why a lot of people who have schizoid personality disorder feel like it's not really a personality disorder, or it's just like a quirk of theirs or something, or it's just the way that they like to live their life, because you may not have that insight to realize that it actually is a problem and it's part of this schizophrenia spectrum. So is schizoid personality disorder real? It's complicated. If you're new here and you'd like to learn more about this, I have over 250 videos on mental health. Hit subscribe and hit the bell after you hit subscribe to get notified each time that I do a video. I'd love to hear from you. What has your experience been like with schizoid personality disorder? Do you have it yourself? Do you know somebody with it? Do you realize that it is a personality disorder? Leave your experience down below in the comments so that we can all learn from each other. My mission here is to humanize mental health. If you're on board with that mission, you want to help me do it, go on over to Patreon. You can support me over there. I'll put the link above. As always, thank you everybody for spending the day with me. I'll see you around next time.